Have you ever wondered what fertilizer method is best? Me too. Let's figure it out. What's going on, everybody? DjGoHam here. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a testing series here on Farming Simulator 19. I have been wondering, what is the best fertilizer to use per price? What is the one that's going to do the best? Which one's going to go the fastest? And which one is going to save me the most amount of money? And today, we're going to talk about that. We've got solid fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, manure, and slurry as well. Those are going to be the four that we're testing today. We're going to test them with worker buying versus worker not buying. We're going to talk about the cost per thousand, and we're going to figure out what is best. First up, let's talk about the test. Test number one is going to be worker not buying anything. We're going to do between 2 and 3 different passes at 24 meters. Now, one of these guys is going to have to work a little bit harder than the other 3, and we'll explain that one once we get there. We're going to talk about how much was used, how much would it have costed you, the fertilizer cost per price, and the manure and slurry cost per price per used, if you would even use it in the first place. And then test number 2 is going to be about the same, except worker is going to be buying everything. So really, it's just going to be that cost versus what it costs us to do it ourselves. Now, as you may know, solid fertilizer and liquid fertilizer can be purchased in the base game. However, manure and slurry cannot be purchased base game. You need cows or pigs to make that happen. Fortunately for us, well, we're not going to worry about that. What I've done is I've taken an average of the prices, and I've figured out that manure would cost somewhere around $360 per 1,000 liters if you purchased it base game. And that goes for slurry as well. Pretty much what I did is I went in and I averaged a few of the crops that you could buy versus sell, and I have averaged the cost versus a few things that you can buy as well. So manure and slurry together, I figured out to be around $360 per 1,000 liters each if you were able to buy them to begin with. So let's check it out. Let's jump in and let's do our first test. Test number 1 is going to be the solid fertilizer. What I've done is I've lined up with the very back of the implement on the edge of the field. We're going to go ahead and turn this guy on. Helper buy has been turned off. This field needs to be fertilized. So I'm going to click hire worker, and I'm going to let them do 2 passes. And we're just going to get an average of how much was used. So a total of 48. And unfortunately, we'll just let the worker turn everything on. They're going to be a lot more consistent with their testing than I would be, unfortunately. I would have to do, at least 5, if not 10 passes total just to get an average of this. So we're going to take me out of the equation completely and just let the worker do it. Now, you can see we're coming down here to the very end of the first run, and we haven't really used that much. 80 liters already used, so that is it. Super low usage when it comes to solid fertilizer. And one thing that I have really pushed for you guys to use over and over and over again. While this guy is rocking and rolling, let's take a look at our garage and let's see what have we got. Well, we have the Hardy Mega 2200. It's going to be our sprayer, 24 meters. We've got the Kuhn Axis 402. That's going to be at 24 meters. We have the Straumann PS3401 manure spreader, again, 24 meters. And then we have the Joska Modulo 2, which is at 12 meters. So it is going to have to do multiple passes to make things work. Everything is set to be able to work as fast as possible. Once this gets down to the end and turns itself off, that is going to be when we make the deciding factor here of how much was used, and on top of how much was used, what did it cost? Well, versus everything else. So we're at the very end of our first pass here. He's turned it off. Let's turn it off and figure out what we've got. Well, the solid fertilizer actually scored very well. On those 2 passes at 48 meters, it used 196 liters of solid fertilizer, bringing our total cost to $376.32 for this demonstration. That number means nothing other than just for this demonstration here alone, but that's just a baseline. Next is the liquid fertilizer test. With this one, the price per 1,000 liters is actually much lower. It is $1,600 compared to the $1,920 for the solid fertilizer. However, it uses a whole lot faster. So we've done the same thing here. I've lined up the back of the piece of equipment right here. It's at 24 meters. I've lined it up in the same place. I tried to line it up backwards, but here we are, and it is time to see how much it uses versus how much it is going to cost. Again, keep in mind as well, you have the speed of the implement to take into consideration as well. I have used the exact same tractor for every single model. If you guys are curious what model that is the Valtra S374. That's the big boy right here. Oh yeah. So already I am seeing a very high increase in the amount used, but only time's going to tell by the time we get to the end. So let's check it out. Interestingly enough, it really wasn't that big of a difference. It was more though, however. Liquid fertilizer starting with 2,200 liters, ending with 1,937, bringing our use total to 263 liters for this test, bringing the total cost at $1,600 per 1,000 liters to $420.80. So it was an increase by almost $50. Next is the solid manure. So this guy right here, this will spread it out at 24 meters. So that is good. So we have the exact same spread as everything else. We're in the same spot. I've got the back of it lined up just perfectly. And let's turn it on. Let's hire a worker. And let's see this thing take off. Now, I have set it at the same spot, so do keep that in mind. It spit out a whole bunch before even getting off the ground. Now, it has already used 2,000 liters, and we're not even a quarter of the way into the test now. I would say at about right now, we're a quarter of the way through the test, and we've used about 4,000 liters. I'm actually worried that we may not make it through the entire test with enough manure. that would not be good at all. So again, starting with 32,000 liters, and just getting to the very end of the first run, you could see we've used a little bit, what's that, 7,000 liters total. This is a lot. Now keep in mind too, the other stuff was $1,600, $1,900 per 1,000 liters. This is only about $360 per 1,000 liters. So will this come out or will it not? Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, at $360 per 1,000 liters, this is way behind. You might as well just sell it and get the money because it is not going as far as the other guys. But we're going to find out nonetheless. Again, we're going to get all the way down to the end. We're going to wait until the manure spreader stops. I will fire the worker, and then we will do our calculations. This one's a little bit shocking, so you may want to sit down if you use manure for a bunch of stuff. So manure starting, we had 32,000 liters. Ending, we had 18,099 liters, bringing our total used to 13,901 liters used. And at $360 per 1,000 liters, judging off of the twice as much as it sells for, if you could physically buy it, which you cannot, bringing that total to $5,004.36 per used manure. That's a little bit high, to be fair. It's a little bit high, but again, base game stuff, no crazy mods, no extra specs. There are some maps where it sells for $900 or even more dollars per 1,000 liters. I'm playing on a map right now where manure sells for $1,500 per 1,000 liters. Yeah, you're crazy if you don't just sell it then. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right now. I don't even have to test it. Last but not least, on the first part of our testing, we have the Joska Modulo 2 12-meter slurry spreader. This is a drag hose version, so it is not a version with a pipe out the back. It's just your normal drag hose style. This, however, is going to have to make 4 trips, not just 2. It's going to have to make 4 trips in order to cover the same amount of distance, but I want to see what the difference is. So let's hire a worker. Let's drop. I have set it to be the exact same settings. Everything is just like normal. Hopefully we can keep at least 75% by the end of this run. Again, keep in mind, Slurry as well, if you hypothetically could buy it, yes, you can use it to buy or for purchase points in game and that kind of thing, and those are absolutely amazing. However, base game, you cannot. You cannot buy Slurry. You cannot buy manure. You have to get it on your own. So that's why we're doing it like this. and it looks like we're going to be just fine for our 4 runs, at least, hopefully. Can we keep at least 75% in here? I think so. I think we're going to be okay. Yep, I think we're going to be all right for the 4 passes. So let's hit them, and let's find out exactly what the total price for Slurry would be, hypothetically, of course. So your final stats with Slurry. We started with 15,780 liters. We ended with 2,551 liters. Didn't think we were going to be able to do it. We used 13,229 liters, bringing our total cost, if we were to have bought that for $360 per 1,000 liters, to $4,762.44. Now, I have some interesting math that you may want to hear. Taking into account that the total cost for solid fertilizer for that run is $376, liquid fertilizer was $420. The manure, if we were to have sold all 13,901 liters, we would have made $2,502. That's so much more than we even used. So think solid fertilizer, $2,502 versus $376. The Slurry and liquid fertilizer at $420. So you're making so much more by selling it than you are by using it. Yes, it's free, but you make per acre, you're making so much more if you just sell the manure and then buy liquid fertilizer or buy solid fertilizer. Same thing goes with a Slurry. If we were to have sold all 13,229 liters, we would have made $2,393.82. That's only at $180? $180 per 1,000 liters. Get that? That's so much money and so different that it's almost ridiculous that you would even use Slurry and manure when you can sell it and make so much more and get so much more acreage done with more money to spare sitting in your pocket. Why? I don't understand. I've never understood. I've never used manure or Slurry. I've always sold it, but I just don't get it. Tell me if I'm wrong. I just don't get it. The numbers are there. The facts are there. Why would you not? Now, we're going to let the worker do it, and we're going to see how much they would have charged us. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be worker cost plus the cost of the thing itself. You're always going to have a worker, but you don't always have to have a worker when you're doing option 1. You could do it yourself. However, option 2, we're going to have to pay for it. Now, for the fun part, let's go in and let's change it to worker buy everything. Let's go in. Let's see. Fuel's going to be off, of course, but fertilizer, buy Slurry on, manure on. So that should take care of everything. So nothing else is being purchased other than just that manure, Slurry, and fertilizer in general. So let's turn it on. We're going to start with $100,000 no matter what. We're going to line it up exactly the same and let it go. Here we go. And the price is already just a wee bit different. Let's find out what solid fertilizer is going to be at the very end. This is going to be through the roof. Well, the solid fertilizer results are in. We started with $100,000, and as you can see, we have $99,493, bringing that to a total of $507 for that entire thing. Actually, not too bad. It was only an increase of about $131. So for that area, not too much difference there. However, for the overall picture, it's still more, and that's not a good thing. Money's in, so let's take a look and let's see how much a liquid fertilizer run is going to cost us at 48 meters, so 2 runs of 24 meters. Again, I tried to pick the most common denominator, and it seemed that 24 meters was the most common. At least for fertilizers, 24 meters is pretty common. Funny enough, there were no 24-meter Slurry spreaders. I had, was it 12? And like 32 and 36. Massive. There were a couple injectors, but we're just doing just fertilizer literally being thrown or forced onto the ground, nothing being injected into it. So let's take this time and let's find out what we get out of the liquid fertilizer. And we have our numbers from the liquid fertilizer. Interestingly enough, this one is intriguing me a bit. So our total cost us $529 to do everything. So it was really not much more than the solid fertilizer. As a matter of fact, I would say it was almost negligible depending on how much we were actually doing right there. And not only that, it was less of an increase than the solid fertilizer was as well. $109 for the liquid fertilizer extra versus buying it ourselves. Very cool. Things are happening. I'm digging this. Next is the solid manure. I think that we're going to see a decrease, finally. I say that, but man, oh man, that manure seems to be a little bit expensive, doesn't it? Holy cow, we've already spent $100. Wow. Okay, that's the way you want to do it. All right. This is going to be a lot more expensive than I thought. For some reason, I was thinking helper buying manure and slurry was super cheap. But we have already spent, what was that, $300? We've already spent $300, and we're not to the end of the first run yet. And we didn't even spend $600 on any of the other ones. Look at that. $300 or $370. Oh my gosh. At the end of the first run. We'll see when it's all said and done. This is a train wreck. After the manure has been said and done, so we started with $100,000. We ended with $99,271, bringing our total cost for the manure to $729. And that is a decrease, not increase like the previous two, a decrease of $4,275. Are you getting what I'm stepping in here? Don't buy manure. Don't use it. Sell it. And then hire a worker. Goodness gracious, that is incredible. And the last test today, the slurry. So this was pretty darn expensive the first time around too. So let's find out. Let's hire a worker. And let's find out for sure what this is going to cost us. How much is this going to be? I'm looking at it. It is going down much slower than the manure, but I would expect it to. We are moving at, well, half the pace, more or less. Same speed, but half the width. So we should be using less. If all is right, we should be running somewhere around 180, 160, 170, somewhere around there for the entire run right here. And that will be completely on par with manure. Now, what is it going to be? Look at that. Almost on the money, too. $183 right there. Now, do keep in mind, still costs money for the workers, so that is part of this, unfortunately. But just keep in mind that this... Oh, the worker price is negligible with these kinds of prices. And lastly, when it was all said and done, this slurry, we started with $100,000, ended with $99,251, bringing our total cost to $749 for all the slurry that we needed to use. And that was a decrease, yet again, of $4,013. So I've said it before, I say it again. Sell your slurry and then hire a worker to do it for you. That's an incredible thing right there. Even selling the slurry that we used, $2,300, almost $2,400, you're still making $1,800, $1,700? It almost seems like a no-brainer right here. Sell your manure and slurry. Well, guys, that is going to be it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like on the video, get subscribed to the channel, join the GoHamFam if you're new. Make sure you turn your notification bells on as well so that you never miss a video here on the channel, daily farming simulator videos. Let me know what you thought of the outcome. Are you still going to use manure and slurry for your fields? Or are you going to sell it first and then use the money you made and hire a worker? Let me know. Or have you always used liquid and solid fertilizer? Let me know that as well. All that being said, hope you have a great day. We'll see you later. Peace.